There's a small amount of people that have been taking all the jobs in cybersecurity. They have been going from having no tech experience at all to landing a job as a penetration tester in a couple of months. You might think this is impossible because if you have been working in cybersecurity or if you have been trying to get a job in cybersecurity, you might know that progression is very slow usually, and it takes months and years of experience to get a good job or to progress in the career. But let me explain to you how these people have been doing. And the key word here is that people have been getting the jobs in cybersecurity fast. Fast is the key word. So you can go from no tech experience at all to becoming a penetration tester in, let's say, 4 to 6 months if you have no experience at all. And of course, if you start with any experience, then this process will be even faster. So the way you do this is by learning the basics from TryHackMe and Portsfigures Labs. These are the only platforms you need to learn the basics. Don't waste time on other platforms, don't waste time on other labs, don't deploy OWASP Juice Shop locally. You don't need it. You only need to learn the basics from TryHackMe and Portsfigure. So TryHackMe is actually comes with a subscription and is only $10 a month. And by paying $10 a month for 4 months, so let's say $40, you can learn everything that you need to start as a penetration tester. Same with Portsfigure is actually free and is more designed to make you understand the tool that you're going to use to becoming a penetration tester. And in this case will be a web application penetration tester. And there are two reasons we go for web application first and not cloud or anything else. It's most likely that you are familiar with the web application more than anything else. You have been using website, you have used website your entire life, and web applications is the one that you are likely more familiar with. There's no reason to start with something else. There's no reason to start with the cloud or with mobile application. You start with an application, and they are also the one that are most available. They are widely available, and there's always a higher demand. The demand for web application is always increasing. And after you learn the basic, and this is the important part. After you learn the basic, you need to earn an intermediate or advanced level certificate. Not a beginner one, not one of those useless beginner certificates. You need to earn an intermediate or advanced level certificate. This is the only way that you can fast track your career in cybersecurity. You might think that this is not possible because most people in the industry, they will tell you that intermediate and advanced level certificate require a lot of months of studying or years of experience. Most people will tell you that it takes 1 year to get to a level where you can have an intermediate or advanced level certificate, but that's not true. People have been doing this exam and they have been cheating this exam for a while now, and I'll show you how. So first of all, let's dive deep into why you only need the basics to start. You might think that even if you get the certificate, then you will not be able to do the job because you don't have the skills. And most people think that they actually can get caught not having the skills in the job. But the reality is that most of the skill is learned on the job. There is only a certain amount of training and studying that you can do. Eventually you have to go out there and start testing web applications. And the way most people learn and the way you will grow faster is at the job. There is no other way. You cannot become an expert just by studying. You need to go out there and test web applications. And the other thing is that the majority of the applications out there are very, very similar. So after you learn the basic, you will see that the basics pretty much apply to 99% of the application out there. So you don't need to worry about not being able to complete the task in the job. And another thing is that the advanced labs and the advanced machines out there, they only waste your time. They're not reflective of real environment. They're not reflective of real web application that you can find once you start working as a penetration tester. So don't even bother. You're going to learn most of the job while doing it, and you only need the basics fundamental, and those apply to 99% of the applications out there. Now, the critical part. how to get the intermediate or advanced level certificate. So here is where most people might think is unethical. Most people might think that is not something they want to do, but these are the people that you are competing with. There are two ways people have been getting intermediate and advanced level certification. The first way is to buy the solutions. Yeah, that's correct. All the exams out there, for all the exams that you can think about out there, 99% of the exams out there, you can just simply buy the solution. Especially for the ones that are less complex, you can always find a solution. But this method is actually not the one I recommend, and there are two main reasons why I don't recommend this method. First of all, some exam, let's say for example OSCP. For exam like OSCP, you can only know the machines you get on the exam during the exam. You cannot know the machine you're going to get beforehand. And the issue with this is that you cannot buy the solution before you start the exam. So you can only buy the solution during the exam, and there is a way to do it. If you need the solutions, my Telegram is in the description. You can buy them, but I don't recommend this method. The other way that people have been getting this certification, and is the way that I recommend because this guarantee you 100% that you pass your exam, is by doing getting a remote exam service. The remote exam service basically means that while you pretend you're doing the exam, someone else is taking the exam on your behalf. So someone else is solving the machines for the exam, and this way you make sure that you pass the exam 100%. And passing this exam, for example, something like OSCP, or if you start with no knowledge at all, I actually recommend people to go for OSWA. After they learn the basic of web application, you can get OSWA, which is easier than OSCP and is easier to back on an interview by showing web application testing knowledge. By getting this exam, you will 100% land a job interview. There is no one that I helped getting this exam, either by selling them the solution or by doing the remote exam service, that didn't get at least a job interview. And that's actually how I got my first job in cybersecurity. After I got the certification, I got OSWA. I started getting messages from recruiters on LinkedIn. And if you are interested, if you contact me on Telegram, I can share you all the details on how exactly this works, and we can plan your career, and we can plan like we can develop an action plan to help you getting your dream job. And as I said, once you have the basic knowledge and you got the certificate, you are going to land your first job as a penetration tester. It's impossible for you not to land a job, because the job market, regardless of what people say, if you go out there on LinkedIn and you search penetration tester, you will see hundreds and hundreds of job openings. And the issue is that these job openings, they are not beginner friendly. So that's why people are saying there are no jobs in cybersecurity. There are jobs in cybersecurity. I can guarantee you, I get messages from recruiter every week for openings. But the issue is that these jobs, they are not beginner friendly. So if you have no experience and no certification, you cannot even land an interview. But if you have the basic knowledge, which is important, the basic knowledge is important because once you land the interview, usually the interview process works this way. So you'll get first like initial stage, which is very easy to pass. You just need to show that you are well spoken, you need to show that you know what you're talking about, and that first stage will be with a non-tech person. So the first stage of the interview actually can be passed by anyone, even if you don't have that much knowledge about pen testing. Where you need the basic knowledge to shine is on the second stage. So on the second stage of the interview, what you get is that usually you get a technical interview. So you will be asked either technical question, or you will be asked to solve machines live. So this is where you need the basic knowledge to shine. And I can guarantee you that the level of this interview is very, very low. There is no way you cannot pass this interview with only the basic knowledge. And that's what I did when I started. When I started cybersecurity, it took me only 4 months to get my first job. I studied the basic for 4 months and then I landed my first job. And I was actually shocked on how easy the technical interview was. And the basics alone, they are well enough for you to pass the technical interview. And the issue with not, if you, most people, some people, they think that because they can cheat the exam, they can avoid studying the basics. But the issue with that is that if you don't learn the basics, then you will not be able to back the knowledge during the technical interview. So you're likely not going to get the job, because if you cannot back up the knowledge, no one is going to hire you, right? If you don't pass the technical interview, no one is going to hire you. So you need to have at least the basic knowledge. Even if you struggle a bit during technical interview, that's completely normal. Actually, my first tech interview that I ever did, it wasn't that great, but I displayed some of the basic knowledge. I showed that I knew what I was talking about for most part of the interview, and I still landed the job, even if it wasn't a great interview by any means. So let's go back to the pen tester job. Why pen testing? Why not something else? First of all, pen testing is the dream job of most people that enter cybersecurity. Even the people that go for SOC, then they eventually always end up wanting to apply for a pen testing job. So you don't need to waste time becoming an analyst or any other position in cybersecurity. You can go for a penetration testing job. That's how I did it, and that's why now I'm teaching people how to do it. And I can guarantee you that this is 100% doable, and you can get a starting salary of 100,000 US dollar. That's if you're based in the US. Where I'm based in my country, actually salaries start on a less than half than this for pen testing. And as I said, is the most sought after position, is the dream job for many, many people out there. And after you get your first job, then you have infinite growing opportunities, because you can exploit this method of getting knowledge and then landing intermediate advanced certifications. So after you get the job, actually most companies in the West, they pay for your exams if you want to progress in the career. So you don't even have to pay for the exams, and you just pay to cheat the exam. So you save time on studying, and you might think that this is unethical and that people that use this method, they cannot have success in this career because they don't actually learn the knowledge. But most of the knowledge is actually learned while you do the job, and you need very, very minimal studying. I can guarantee you, I help people with zero knowledge about cybersecurity, or like that people that spend only a few hours a day studying for a couple of weeks. I help them to get a certificate and then land their first job as junior pen testers. That's if you want to go with the junior route, you need even less than 4 months. If you want to go for the junior route, you need, I would say, probably 3 to 5 weeks. You learn the basic in 3 to 5 weeks, and you can get a job as a junior pen tester after you get the certification. And for the junior route, you can go for a less complex certification. You don't need to go for OSWA. You can go with something like PNPT or EJPT. And those exams also, you can get them done remotely. You don't need to stress about the exam. And that's how people have been cheating cybersecurity, and they have been getting all the jobs in cybersecurity. If you think this is immoral, if you think that this is not something that you are willing to do, keep in mind that these are the people you are competing against. So if you don't use this method, you're likely not going to have success in this industry, because it's going to take you years and years of studying and years of working for minimum wage, or years of working as a junior before you even get to a point where you get your dream job and where you can start earning 100,000 salary. So If you're interested, my Telegram is in the description. Hit me up. See you.